He is the Democratic nominee for South Carolina House District 113, and he's also a local attorney. He is the Charleston County Democratic Party chairman. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down exclusively with Marvin Pendarvis and Brady Quirk-Garvan one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Well, gentlemen, it's so good to see you.
It's great to
Good
see
morning.
you.
Good to see you as well.
Likewise. Well, Marvin, let me start off with the obvious. 80% of the vote for House District, 111?
113.
Excuse me, 113. Define Marvin Pendarvis these days.
Well, I'm exuberant. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to win, and it's a good feeling to certainly move forward into the general election in November. So I'm excited about the work that we put into this point. We worked hard. We certainly went out with a game plan, and I feel that we executed that pretty well. And I look forward to being able to continue with the momentum that we've got into November. And certainly know the job is not done. So I'm excited, but I understand that there's more work to do.
And Brady, when you look at Marvin's win, what does that tell you about the future of Charleston County in that district?
Well, I think what it tells me is that, that district was ready for a new generation of leadership. And, clearly we have that. And that was a strong mandate. I mean, 80% of the vote in any election is almost unheard of. So to me, it was a great night for the party, and for the district. And I'm excited equally about going into the general election and making sure we finish the deal and can send him to Columbia.
Absolutely.
What did you do in the What did you do in the primary that you wanted? Well, what could you not do in the primary that you could do in the general election?
Well, with the fact that we are over the primary now, I think there's an opportunity for me to get a lot of support from the party and certainly a lot more people. So I think when we have an opportunity to really galvanize the entire Democratic base, and that's one thing that, when you're dealing with primary opposition, you don't really have the opportunity to do that. And so now we can really dig in and say, okay, we want to keep this district blue. And we certainly want to make sure that we send a message that, not only this year, but going into 2018, that we intend to hold on to this seat and we intend to continue competing for this seat. And so, having the opportunity to really galvanize the entire Democratic base within the district, I think is one of the things that I'm looking forward to being able to do over the next month.
So, for instance, the party during the primary didn't get involved in picking a candidate, right. But now that we've got Marvin as our nominee, sure. What we'll do is we'll spend time, money, and resources to make sure that people go out for the general election. So I think that's one of the great things is we got to see Marvin's campaign on his own, and they did amazing. And now, as the party, we get to back him up going into the general election and really try and run up those numbers.
And let me talk to you more about the primary opposition. You had an experienced politician and really a political newbie. You had Chris Collins and Angela Hangat. And I was talking to, via text, a experienced politician. And the person basically says, hey, when you look at these numbers, it basically puts Chris Collins at rest. Take me back behind the scenes, Marvin, and tell me, what was it like for you to have that opposition?
Well, it was fun. I mean, it was good. I expected it. Obviously I knew early on when you and I had that initial conversation right. That this is certainly something that I wanted to pursue. But it's something that I expected, and I think it's good. It tells me, one, that the fact that we've got an opportunity to have a new representative within House District 113, you've got good candidates, credible candidates that want to offer themselves. And so I think it says a lot about the legacy that Seth Wepper was able to leave, and also about the future of the party and the district. And so I think you've got, especially with particularly myself and Ms. Hanyak, representing kind of that new generation, that new wave of leadership that we want to see going forward. And so that was particular what I enjoyed about it, and certainly the fact that we've got good candidates wanting to offer themselves, and I certainly like to be able to continue to see that, especially, again, it's a wave. It's, we want to continue this momentum, not only for this election, but into the next year. And so you'll start to see as seats come open and and even contested seats, more and more candidates offering themselves, because I think we're at a point, at a critical juncture, not only in our local and state time, but even in nationally, where we want to have good candidates in office. We want to continue pushing that wave of new and fresh and innovative leadership. And so I think, particularly with this campaign, in a lot of ways that represented that, with not only myself, but some of the other candidates that were in the race as well.
And let me go back to numbers. 80% tells you what about the constituents of House District 113?
Well, it means we've got a lot of support. And and that means we were able to put in the work. The work that we put in was realized, and we were able to be able to benefit from the fruits of our labor, if you will. So, that says a lot about where we are with the district and the support that we have. I'm excited about it. I think they bought into the message that we had. A homegrown kid who's come back and wants to offer himself to do some good work for this district. And I think that resonates a lot with people of all ilks, of all backgrounds, and no matter where they're at in the district. And that's a unique opportunity that we have. And I'm excited and thankful and look forward to being able to see what we will be able to do to not only energize and galvanize those people, but in addition to increase the turnout and really get more people on board of what we want to do going forward.
Yeah. And I think as a district or a resident of District 113, my wife and I, it was amazing to just be regular voters in that district and talking about the hard work. We had a volunteer from Marvin's campaign knock on our door. We got mail from him. They called our house. So all those things that you would like to see in a campaign, we saw from Marvin's campaign, and that was fantastic. And we want to make sure we duplicate that, not just for the general, but as you said, for other races in the future.
You talk about that good work. What do you want to do for House District 113?
Well, as I mentioned, we have every intention on making sure that we go up to Columbia and do work. And that's the reason I got into this race. Not me just from being from here, but I care a lot about what's going on. And so I certainly look forward for the opportunity to really put in place what we've said on the campaign trail. Those issues that I talked about when it comes to economic empowerment and equality and education and infrastructure issues. Those are issues that I look forward to being able to tackle. Those are barriers that I look forward to being able to wrestle, because these are real issues that are affecting people in this district. There's one gratifying thing that I was able to get off the campaign trail, and just talking with residents, not only before, during, but even after the primary, where people have legitimate concerns and excitement and look forward to seeing what I'll be able to do. And so I certainly will be continuing to surround myself with those individuals who are experts in various areas, but also using my own experience and understanding and wherewithal to be able to push some of the issues and needs that we have within this district, because we ran the race, and we look forward to being able to go toward November and secure this victory like we intend to do. But in addition, when come January, it's time to work. It's time to roll up the sleeves and do the work that the people elected me to do. And so I have every intention on doing that.
What will you do on day one if you're elected to be Representative Pendarvis?
On day one, we want to lay it out, and I intend to have a game plan, almost like a 100-day strategy. Okay. I go into it understanding the political climate in South Carolina. I understand, just as a party, we have some challenges that we have to overcome in Columbia, just from a sheer numbers aspect. Sure. But I also think within that there's an opportunity to build consensus. I've already had conversations with a number of elected officials up in Columbia and various entities to be able to get an idea of what issues will be coming before the body in January. And a lot of those are based off of some of the things that I've already been talking about on the campaign trail, and some of those things, just based off of conversations that I've had before, during, and even after the primary win. And so, day one, we want to lay out exactly how we want to go. I understand that there will be some challenges, but, I think just like what we did with this campaign, going in there with a game plan, knowing, okay, we want to do work, we want to make noise. And, I have no intention on just being there and just being silent and just being a freshman representative that's kind of sitting in the back, don't say anything. We want to certainly make some noise and do the work that the people elected us to do. And so that's what I look forward to the most.
And you talk about those individuals. Obviously, you'll be working with Wendell Gilliard, David Mack, Leon Stafford, a whole slew of Charleston delegation. How would you work with them?
Well, I'm fortunate to have had relationships and conversations with them. So, particularly Mr. Gilliard, Mr. Mack, we've already been able to have a good relationship and conversation. So being able to work with those representatives, and I spoke with Mr. Stamniakis after the election, and so it's good to hear from them and the excitement that the delegation has about the prospect of having a young leader up there with them. And so I look forward to it. I mean, if there's one thing about me that's been shown just through my work, my community work, my law work, and certainly throughout this campaign, is that I have a knack for building relationships, for connecting people, ideas, and things, and certainly look forward to being able to do that with the representatives that are already in place, the ones that I know and the ones that I do not know.
And I think it's impressive too that, on day one, you've already got great relationships with these folks. I mean, to see that it's not like you're going to go meet Representative Gilliard or, Marlon Kimpson for the first time. Those are strong relationships. And
Absolutely.
I think what you're going to see is the Charleston delegation is going to have a lot more power and be able to exercise that to get some things done and make sure that projects that are critical to Charleston and to North Charleston
Absolutely.
are really taken seriously. And even though we may be the minority party, I think when you have that strong of a delegation pushing with one message, a lot can happen. So I'm really excited to see what happens come January.
Absolutely.
And obviously, if she's elected too, Cindy Boatwright, she will obviously potentially be our state representative for House District 99. Tell me why Cindy Boatwright, why now?
Well, I think in that race you have someone in Representative Merrill who had to resign because of ethics charges, and what we've seen is that there's a pattern here of Republicans who have been in office for too long taking advantage of the system and personally benefiting from that. And so much like when Bobby Harrell had to resign and we were able to elect Mary Tinkler, I think we're going to be able to elect a Democrat to that seat because I think people are ready for honest leadership. So that's why I think that's a critical election.
What is your definition of honest leadership?
I think honest leadership means that you're in this for the right reasons. You're in this to serve the public good, not your own personal checkbook. And I think that's where sort of the line got crossed with Representative Merrill and others. And so I think one of the great things is, we've got a slew of candidates that are ready to serve and serve the people, not serve themselves.
And I think that's a very salient point, and it speaks a lot about the campaign that we ran, that people are excited about candidates that want to serve the people. And have a genuine vested interest in doing right by the people, because ultimately that's what it is. It's a labor of love, and it's doing right by the people that put you in office. And certainly, I'm glad that you said that, because I think that we'll continue to see that shift toward, making sure that we get people in office that are genuinely invested in what is right by the people of not only this district, but the entire state of South Carolina.
That's right.
Describe to me the following in one word: the Naval Hospital.
A mess.
Yeah, it is a mess. That whole ordeal. I mean, it's very unfortunate. I mean, I think we all are pretty much aware of the proposed settlement as a result of everything that transpired with that. It's very unfortunate. I mean, when you're talking about taxpayer dollars and all of that money, was it $33 million?
33 million. Yeah. And I think one of the things is that's an area, it's near where both of us live.
Yeah.
That's an area where $33 million could go a long way towards some actual needed improvements, whether it was fixing roads or drainage or schools. $33 million can go a long way, and the idea that money is going to go to some developer is really disheartening, particularly for an area where any area could use an extra $33 million, but particularly for that area, there's some need for development there.
Santee Cooper scanner.
Another mess.
Yeah, that's, when I mentioned earlier about issues that the General Assembly will have to address come January, that's one particular one. I mean, you're talking about a situation where you've got the taxpayers, the ratepayers, paying for really the mistakes of several people within that company. And so that's something that we ought to keep our eye on. I know that there have been a number of conversations about what to do with that law, that act, that base load act, trying to figure out exactly what we can do to address it, because it's a serious issue. I mean, again, another play where you've got the taxpayers, citizens having to take the load off of decisions that affected them detrimentally. And so we've got to make sure that we address that in a meaningful way. And I think that that's something that, you know, come January, you're already hearing conversations about it now, but certainly come January, I think that that's something to keep an eye on.
And I think what's particularly important is hopefully we'll have Representative Pendarvis, Senator Kimson going in and looking at this, and exactly as you said, from the perspective of the consumer and the voters. And, you know, really we want to make sure that everyone who's paying their electric bill every month is not the ones that are being taken advantage of. And that's a different shift than the status quo in Columbia. And so I'm really glad that we'll have people, you know, up there looking out for individuals and voters, you know, that are actually footing the bill.
Emerge America.
I'm really excited about Emerge. I think excitement is, to me, the right word. It's just as Marvin was saying earlier, it's a group that's going to train Democratic women to run for office. And it's going to be a part of that surge that you see of new people running for office who have deep ties to the community. They've been involved in civic groups and in their PTA and have decided, you know what? The way things are going in, whether it's Columbia or DC, is broken, and we need some new representatives. And so I'm really, really excited.
I'm excited too. I think news broke yesterday about the hiring of a new Melissa Watts and an executive director for the organization. So that speaks volume. It tells you that, you know, it's going in the right direction. And so I'm excited about it as well. Being able to, again, it's that new way. You know, the Democratic women being able to carry on and really serve as leaders in our communities. And so as a young person myself, as a millennial, you know, I certainly like to see my contemporaries get involved. And certainly this is an organization that promotes that and wants to put them in the forefront of being involved and being elected officials and and certainly doing what we can to really better this community that we live in.
You talk about a young person. Obviously, you're going to be one of the youngest House representatives in the State House. But reintroduce yourself. Who is Marvin Pendarvis?
I will be. I'll be 28 in 28 days.
Wow.
So yeah, it's you know, sometimes I can't even believe it. But you're right. I mean, I'm still that young man who's you know, roaming the streets of Charleston Farms and Liberty Hill. You know, Marvin Pendarvis is a man of the people, a man of North Charleston who grew up here, who understood that there are certain challenges here. You know, who was able to overcome those societal challenges, economic challenges, and make something of himself. And so I'm proud of the fact that I was able to, you know, overcome a lot of the things that were my way and certainly come back here and be involved and do something to make a difference. I mean, that's who I am. I'm a people person, and I think those experiences, what I've seen, what I've been through, is certainly given me an eye for public service. I understand that, again, you know, from a fundamental value standpoint, that there are issues that affect people on a daily basis, and that you need leadership that understands that and that wants to do something about that. And so, you know, I certainly think from a fundamental standpoint that that's what's shaped my views, and it certainly is going to continue to shape my future. But I mean, I always hold on to those core values because they make who I am. And you know, I'm a big person of integrity and just doing right by people. And I always said before I got into this, I want to do right by people. And you know, and if I'm not doing right by people, then I'm not in this for the right reasons. And so it's not about any, you know, self-glorification or anything about what I want to do in my own personal motives or goals or anything like that. It's about doing right by the people, and I can't say it enough because it's the truth.
What is it about Marvin that people should know about him, that you know?
Well, I think that integrity word is what's most important, because one of the things when we elect people, we don't know what issues are going to come up in 2 years or 3 years. There will be issues that we don't even know about yet. But I think what's important is that integrity and knowing that I have full faith that whatever the issue is, that, you know, when you as a representative go to Columbia and look at those issues, that you're going to look at them from the right perspective. And whatever the end result is, that's what people want, is someone with integrity. You don't have to agree on every issue every time, but if you feel like your representative has integrity and is looking at it from the right perspective and looking out for the constituents, that's a home run right there.
Absolutely.
Well, Marvin Pendarvis and Brady Quirk-Garvan, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank
It's
you so
always
much,
a pleasure, Quintin. Always a pleasure.
Thank you guys.
Great.
Yeah, I appreciate that.